Hello everyone, my name is Cokart and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to discuss what actually happens when you press the home button on your smartphone. When you press the home button on your smartphone, you go to your home screen, obviously. But the technical term for that is actually that you go into your phone's launcher. Every manufacturer of a phone has one. Samsung has the Tizen launcher, Google has the Pixel launcher, OnePlus has the OnePlus launcher, LG has the LG launcher, etc, etc. Names couldn't be much more boring. However, there are also some custom launchers that you can download for free or paid on the Google Play Store. In today's video, we're going to discuss Nova Launcher. Nova Launcher is right now the king, be-all, end-all when it comes to Android launchers. If you want maximum customizability to your Android smartphone with nearly zero compromise, Nova Launcher is the launcher for you. And in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly why that is. Now, once you've installed it, press your home button and you will be asked to make that launcher your go-to launcher. So just tap Nova Launcher and tap Always, so that every time when you press the home button, you go to your Nova home screen. Okay, so now I'm going to have my screen over there on the video, and I'm going to show you all the features that are built within the Nova Launcher. So to start off, in order to get into the settings, we start off by holding down your finger on the home screen. My desktop is locked, apologies. Hold down your finger on the home screen and then you can go into settings. From there on in, there are multiple categories. There's desktop, app and widget drawers, dock, folders, look and feel, night mode, gestures and inputs. We're going over each and every one of them and show you what exactly the differences are and what exactly you can change on your home screen, so you can make the decision for yourself whether or not you wish to purchase this app for the extra customizability. So to start off, let's go to the desktop area. The desktop area, of course, your main home screen. So you can change the desktop grid. So on the desktop grid, you can pick what the width and the height of your home screen will be in terms of icons. It goes down from 2 all the way up to 12. So next to the desktop grid, there is the sub-grid positioning. Sub-grid positioning allows snapping of widgets or icons halfway through grid cells. So if you really want to fine-tune where your widgets are located, this is how you do that, by enabling that. You can also turn it off, of course, but I personally have it turned on. Then you can change the icon layout. So on the desktop, you can change the icon size. It ranges all the way from 70% of the normal size to 150% of the normal size. You can turn on and off the label. You can change the text color if you wish. You can make the font size bigger or smaller. And notice that when you make the font size bigger with some app icons, it can be the case that the icon is going to be cut off. So or that the label is going to be cut off. So as you can see, the Nova settings right now, it's partially cut off. It says Nova set ... If you want to still be able to see the full name, you can turn off single line, and that makes 2 lines. So now, if an app has a longer name, it will just put the second word right under it, so that you can still see the full name if you just want to be sure. You can also add a shadow or remove it. Works best on light backgrounds. You can't really see it on mine, but that is the basic configuration that you can do to all of your icons. After this comes width and height padding. Width and height padding, well, best way to show you really is to go to my home screen. Right now, width and height padding is set to 0 on my phone. What that means is I want 0 margins on the sides, on the top and on the bottom of widgets and icons. So as you can see, my calendar goes all the way right up against the border of the screen. And that is with the padding set to 0. When you turn it back to default, that is what it would normally look like on your normal state-of-the-art Android smartphone. And I personally love having the padding on, because I mean, off, simply because of the way this looks. It makes it look a lot cleaner. It makes it look a lot more like you have a lot more screen real estate. And this works with icons as well as widgets, so that they go right up against the border. Like as you can may be able to tell, my bottom icons are actually way lower than what they used to be. Now, when we're back in the settings, we also have the persistent search bar. The persistent search bar always shows up on top of the screen, as you can see. Pretty annoying in my face right now. But you can change the style of it if you don't like it. You can change the color of the bar if you want a yellow search bar. You can do that. Like I said, many other styles of search bar, and if you don't want the voice portion of that search bar showing up, you can disable that, just like that. You can enable it, disable it, however you like. Okay, so next up is scroll effects. Scroll effects is when you swipe between your pages. So I've currently set it to a wipe, which makes it a very clean look. As you can see, it's a very nice clean transition between the pages, all three of them. As you can see, they look pretty similar, but that's the point. I want to make it look as very seamless as possible. As you can see, I can just, by one swipe, switch to the month view versus the normal view. But there are many other effects. There is, sorry for the mail, there's simple, which is just a simple swipe, cube, card stack, tablet, revolving door, flip, which I personally think is really cool. Just flips the entire screen just around. I think that looks very, very cool, to be very honest. But for my styling, it didn't work. Otherwise, I would have used it, but for me, swipe is still the best option. But there's many others. Throw, zoom fade, glass, accordion, in and out. I mean, you got pretty much a very good selection of scroll effects, and you can pick whichever one you like. Then there's wallpaper scrolling. So if you have a wallpaper that's pretty large in size, you can scroll through it. If you have a landscape photo, for example, and you want to scroll through that entire photo like so, then you can do that through the scrolling. So you can turn it on or off, or reverse it, or if some phones that don't support it, you can force it on them. Then there's the infinite scrolling. So right now on my home screen, when I go all the way to the right window, I cannot go any more to the right, as you can see. However, when I turn on infinite scrolling, I can keep scrolling and scrolling infinitely to the right without interrupting. Now next up is the page indicator. The page indicator is what shows up on the bottom. I've simply went with a simple line to make it look very clean, but you can go back to the old school bulbs or completely remove it. You can also change the indicator color if that is what you like. I've put it myself on a very nice full-on OnePlus red. So as you can see on the bottom of the screen, there is a red line that shows up as I switch between pages, and I think personally that looks really, really clean. Then there's also new apps, add icons to home screens. So when you install a new app, it will show up on your home screen by default. However, I've turned that off. I just want it to show up in the app drawer, because at this point, if I download an app, I'm probably not going to use it very long, so I don't want it to show up on my home screen, because it's not going to be there for very long. And then finally, in the advanced tab, there's widget overlap. When you enable this, I suggest overlap when placing. I suggest you enable that. And what basically allows you that to do is to pick up a widget and place it on top of another without any issue. If you do not have that placing turned on, it can only be done through resizing. Then next up, there is lock desktop, which I personally think is very nice, because it basically removes all the ways of editing your home screen. So when I turn that on, I cannot move widgets anymore, I cannot move icons anymore, which is a great feature from my mother, because she keeps tossing around icons within her pocket. I don't know how she does it, but it happens. So this is a very good solution for someone to completely lock their desktop so that they cannot move any icons around anymore, so you'll never lose anything anymore. So next up is the app and widget drawers. So in here you can also change your drawer app grid size. You can change the icon layout again, just like on the home screen. And then there are some other options. Frequently used apps shows up a line above your app, above in your app drawer to show whatever you've used more frequently. If I turn it off, you'll see what the difference is. As you can see, the line is now gone and the most frequently used apps are not shown anymore. Then there's the app drawer style, so you can go from a vertical to a list to horizontal. Lists it in an alphabetical order, just like so. And then there is the horizontal, which basically is the same as a home screen where you can swipe between them. However, you can also change the effect for that. We'll come back to that in a minute. Then there is the cart background. So turning that off, you'll see what it does. It makes the entire background just go black. I don't know why when you turn it on, it becomes partially transparent, but hey, if you want a different color for that background, you can. I just wish it wouldn't be partially transparent. Then there is swipe to open, so swipe up on the dock to open up the app drawer or close it. So regular Android phones these days have a swipe up from the dock to open up the app drawer, where some Android phones like my old Moto G3 still had a button to open up the app drawer, and also a swipe indicator that would normally be there can now be turned off. So as you can see, as I turn it on, there's a red arrow above the gallery app that I normally don't like, so I turn that off. Then there is the card background, so you can change the color of that card if you like. So if you want a orange or red, you can do that, and that will basically change the entire color of this background. Then there is enable fast scroll bar. With fast scroll bar enabled, if you have it set to list or vertical, it will create a scroll bar on the right side, and when you tap it, you can drag it, and you'll basically be able to scroll around it. If I were to turn that off, that scroll bar will disappear. So now you can only scroll with your finger. You can't select that quick drag and pull scroll bar. Then finally, you can also change the scroll accent color if you like. And then in the app search, there's also a search bar, a persistent search bar above the apps. When you turn that on, notice how the tap bar turns off. So right now, there's always a persistent search bar on the top of the app drawer, which I'm personally not a fan of. It just makes it look a little bit hideous, to be honest. But let's turn that back off and turn back on the tab bar. The tab bar is basically, well, tabs that show up on the top of your app drawer, so you can categorize or organize it however way you like. I definitely suggest the color block tab style because it makes it solid, whereas material and classic are transparent and see-through. As you can see, hidden apps is now see-through, and it's not very handy with the current background that I have. It makes it pretty difficult to see. So I just set it to color block. And then there's the menu action icon. So you can turn on and off search, Play Store, or menu, depending on what you want. And what that basically does, if you go to your app drawer, on the top right, you'll see your 3 dots for the Nova settings. You'll see the Play Store icon, and you'll see a search icon that I think looks a lot cleaner than if you were to have a persistent search bar. Then there's isolate tabs, prevent changing tabs when swiping between pages. So if you have a horizontal app drawer, but you also have tabs, multiple tabs, what normally would happen when you scroll to the right or left on your app drawer, it would switch tabs. By isolating them, you can only tap the tabs and you cannot drag over the screen to go to a different tab anymore. So if you have it set to horizontal, be sure to turn on isolate tabs. Then there's the scroll effect. So if you got it on a horizontal scroll, let's put it to a horizontal scroll, you can see the different sorts of scroll effects for this as well. So that revolving door, in and out, accordion, it also works for the horizontal scrolling effect for the app drawer. Then there is again infinite scroll, so you can keep scrolling through it. Don't really have to explain that really. Let's go back to vertical. And then there is a hide apps option. So if you got any apps that are on your home screen and you think I don't want those in my app drawer anymore, then this is where you can select them. So anything that is with me on the home screen, I've basically removed from the app drawer to not show up anymore because I already know where they are. So I don't need them to fill up my app drawer even more. I can just remove them and be done with them. Which comes up to the next option, which is the drawer group. So those tabs that you saw earlier, this is where you can add or remove them, or rename them, or recolor them. So that will basically just show up on the bottom right here. Drawer groups, customize tabs and folders for the drawer. Now, next up is the dock. So the dock is the icons that always show up in the bottom. You can change the background of that if you want. So you can have a platform, rectangle, rounded, or arc. You can put an image in there if you like, or change the color, or change the transparency. And as you can see, that adds a small little background to the dock. Personally, I think it looks absolutely hideous, so turn that off. Then there is the dock pages. So you can have multiple pages on the dock. You can have all the way from 1 up to 5 pages of a dock. If you want more icons there, or widgets even. Then there is the dock icon, so you can tell it how many icons you want on the dock. It goes all the way from 1 up to 7. And then there is the icon layout again. You can change the icon size all the way from 70% to 150% of its original size and get the label out of there. Then there's a search bar in the dock that you can always have persistent. So this is a lot like the persistent search bar, but you can now have it above or below the icons of the dock. So if I put it below, you can see now there's a search bar, which, by the way, copies the style of the persistent search bar. So if you want to change the style of this one, be sure to go to your app, your home screen settings, where you can define the style of the search bar. Then you can also change the width and height padding. So I've completely set those to none because I want those icons to just securely hug the border of the screen, no compromise. Then there's also folders. So in the folders tab, you can change the folder preview, so that would normally show up. You can have it to set the stack, grid, fan, or line. Those are all the main ways it always showed up in Android. Then there's the folder background, so you can change the background. This is the background that shows up below the before the icons. And then you can also change the transition animation when you open or close the folder, so zoom or a circle. Those were the main ways that Android have added. Then there is a background, so you can change the background completely if you want. I've set it to completely transparent. I don't like to have a background there. And then there is the icon layout again, so you can change the icon layout for the folders alone. Now to folders, there's also another few things that you can change. If you hold your finger down on a folder and you edit it, you can change its icon completely. You can, well, rename or whatever the label, but most importantly, you can swipe to open a folder. So right now it is a folder, and the only way for me to open that folder is to swipe up on it. If I disable this, I can just tap on it. I can just tap on this icon and it opens and closes the folder. But with this swipe enabled, now it only opens the folder if I swipe up. Otherwise, it will just open up this app. But you can also change that. So tap action, as you can see, there's right now it opens the first item in the folder. But you can make it do many other different things. If I wanted to open the app drawer, I can do that. So now tapping the calculator opens up the app drawer. These are some simple things that you can change, and I love it because it basically means that you can add some extra functions to your home screen by simply changing what a folder does when you press it. So you can do some nifty things with that. But currently I'm just going to set that back to first item in the folder. So we'll just open the calculator when I tap it once, and if I want the rest of the things, I need to swipe up. So next up is the look and feel. So if you want to dramatically change your Android experience, this is where you want to go. So if you have an icon pack installed from the Google Play Store that you've downloaded, then you can completely change that icon pack simply from here. So if you want to roll it back to Marshmallow, you can. Then you can also change the adaptive icon style. So if you like it round, square, squircle, rounded, square, teardrop, whatever you like, you can change it. However, do notice that with some icons it doesn't work. For example, the calculator app, even though it shows it rounded here, within my phone, the calculator app doesn't have a rounded version. So with some icons it works, with some it doesn't, but here you can change the shape of it. If there are some icons that do not completely fit the style, so if I set it to square, but there are some icons that only come in a round version, what it will try to do when you turn on legacy icons is it will fill in the background with black. So as you can see that Android icon on the top right, It's not a complete square, but you can fill that in if you like. Then there is normalized icon size. So if you have your own custom icons, but they have different sizes compared to the standard Android size, normalizing them will basically reduce them down to size or enlarging them to size to make the standards of Android. You can also change the default screen orientation. I do not know why this function is in there. I don't see anyone using their phone in landscape by default, but in case you want to change it, you can do it. You can even put it on auto rotate, which, like I said, is pretty dumb as it is in my quick settings already. I mean, don't know why it is in there, but it's nice. Then there's the scroll speed and the animation speed. You can completely change those from 5 stages, all the way from relaxed all the way up to faster than light. The same goes for the animation speed. And then with the app animation, so with every iteration of Android, there was a different way of opening an app. It started off with slide left, but as Android versions came along, other ways were there to open up an app. So right now it's set to my system, but you can have it change to circle, reveal, slide up, zoom, blink, and the Android iteration from which it came from. Then you can also have the pop-up menu style, so you can change it to block, which is from Oreo, or pills from Nougat. So that's basically when you hold down on a icon, what shows up. So when I hold down on this is what a block looks like. And if I change it to pills, that is what pills looks like. So you see a little bit different. I personally prefer the block. Then there's drop targets. So with some Android phones, what happens when you hold down an icon and want to move it, normally an X would show up on the top of uninstall or remove. With my iteration of Android, that is completely gone, but you can re-enable that. If you enable it, as I pick up an icon, you can see there's an X popping up on the top where I can drag my icons to completely remove them. Then there is the show notification bar section, so you can show or completely remove your notification bar from the home screen. As you can see right now, it's just gone. Turn that back on again. You can make it transparent if you like, and if you have a lighter background, you can change the icons of the notifications to a darker color so that they pop out more. And then finally, the app search background color. Honestly, I don't know what this does. I've tried to find it, but honestly, I don't know what it exactly does. I mean, is it the app search for when you search on your phone? Is it the app search in the app drawer search? I don't know. But however, it's there. If someone knows in the comments, please do tell me down below so that I know what exactly it does. And then there's night mode, so you can make the launcher decide whether or not it needs to make changes to your color scheme in order to compensate for night mode. However, my OnePlus 5 has a night mode built in, so I don't really need that. I mean, it is there for phones that don't have it, but mine already has it, so it's pointless. Now next up is gestures and inputs, and this is the main reason why I went with this launcher. The stuff you can do with this is absolutely ridiculous. So first of all, when you're on the home screen, you can change what the home button does. So by default, it does absolutely nothing. Double tapping it can launch the camera, but on its own, pressing it once won't do anything. You can make it do something now. So the home button can now be configured to do anything up from app drawer opening to screen locking to launching the assistant immediately, go to your default page or jump to a specific page. Or what I've set it to, just a search. You could change what it does and exactly what you want it to do. You can also decide whether or not you want this to only happen on the default page. If you want this to only happen on your default home screen, this is what you need to turn on. If you don't mind being on another page and you want to immediately search when you tap that home button, just turn it off. Okay, Google Hot Word. Don't know why this is in there. I mean, I got Google Assistant already on, so I don't know why this option is even available. But then the big thing, gestures. So the amount of gestures that you have in this is absolutely ridiculous. So you can do these gestures anywhere from the home screen. So swipe up, swipe down, double tap, swipe up, double tap, swipe down, swipe up with 2 fingers, swipe down with 2 fingers, pinch in, pinch out, rotates counterclockwise, rotates clockwise, and it's absolutely ridiculous with what you can do with this. I mean, just like being able to just have two fingers and swipe it out for maps. Swipe out for maps is absolutely handy. Rotating them counterclockwise to go to my reminders, clockwise to go to an instant compose email, two fingers up for my Google Now, two fingers down for my inbox. The list keeps going on, and you can change what exactly you want those gestures to do. So if I want the swipe up for app drawer, if I want to change that to something else, to launch Google Now or do a voice search, or launch a specific app, all your apps, you can launch them from there, or make them do certain shortcuts like direct dial someone, or contact, or go immediately to a contact, trigger a Google Drive scan, or do the inbox compose, or set a reminder, or launch a specific music playlist. Anything really is possible with this. And it's the main reason why I went with Nova Launcher. And this is probably why I will not be switching from this anytime soon. Because it has cleaned up my home screen, and it has made it exceptionally difficult for anyone that didn't make this home screen to use my phone. It makes it exceptionally difficult for them to use it. And then next up is notification badges. So you can change the size of it and where it pops up on an icon. You can also change what kind they are. So I have it set to dynamic, generates a badge icon from the notification content. But you can also have it to set to dots, as shown in Android Oreo. Or you can show numeric badges if you like that. But you do need an external application called Tesla Unread, which is by the same company that made the Nova Launcher, and it enables you to see the amount of emails that you have, for example, instead of just the profile picture of that person's email. You can also turn it completely off if that is what you like. And then finally there's backup and import settings, so you can import a desktop layout from another launcher. So if you've already configured your entire home screen and where you want the icons to go, you can import that into your new Nova Launcher, so that you won't have to reconfigure all the icons again. Because when you first launch Nova Launcher, you'll see that your entire home screen is empty. So importing them, this is how you do it. And then you can set a backup and save it to your OneDrive or whatever, save it anywhere, so that whenever you get a new phone and you got the Nova Launcher installed and you load up that backup, it has all the icons in the exact same position as you left them. It has the gesture settings all set to the exact same position as you left them, which is very handy if you keep switching through a lot of phones, which as a reviewer can be a burdensome thing, but right now for me that is solved. And then obviously under that, restore or manage backup, so you can see that backups that you've made or browse for a backup that you already have. So for me that would be inside my OneDrive. And I can locate it there. Now, and that is Nova Launcher, and I personally think it's a freaking great launcher. You can change pretty much anything. You can add some exceptionally well thought out things, like the gesture controls is absolutely amazing to use. It's very intuitive, and it makes the home screen look a hell of a lot cleaner. If you'd like to see another follow-up video of how you can exactly copy my home screen, then be sure to like this video and comment down below that you definitely want to see another video where I show you exactly how to get my exact home screen with lock screen included, the home screen layout, how the widgets and apps are laid out, to what settings I have. So if you want to follow up video on that, do be sure to tell me in the comments down below. Now, and that was it for today's video. If you dislike it, you know what to do, but if you like it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you like this type of content. And if you want to be notified the second I do something, be sure to hit that notification bell, and follow me up on my Instagram, where I'll be the most active. Alternatively, you can get up on our Twitter, or even add me on Snapchat. I'm not very active on that, but it is an option. Or go to our Discord community, where you can meet some more of those technological and gaming humans.